Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Homayoon TV. And this episode is actually the first episode of a new series that I'm creating for you guys called Harmonic Jungles, which we mainly focus on harmony and how it came to be, an actual science based on human experiences, and also about how to harmonize your own pieces, how to analyze pieces, and then so you can get your own perspective of harmony. And in this particular episode, we're gonna talk about how harmony came to be right now from 400, 500 years ago. So I hope that you enjoy this, and please keep on watching. We are going to start from the harmony of the classical era. So harmony in the classical era is based on two important things. First, the circle of fifths for the tonicization, and the major and minor system of scales as our main ingredients to compose music and creating harmony. Now, why did I say circle of fifths? It is because over time, from the late 19th century era till the 20th century and so on, composers have invented different ways of tonicization in which they've avoided the fourth and the fifth degree of the scales as the root of the primary chords. What are the primary chords? In any scale, we have two different set of chords built on the different intervals of the scale. The ones that create the most gravitation toward the tonic, or if it is a mode, the chords that represent the color of the mode the best are called the primary chords, and the rest are secondary. So for example, a C major scale. Chords built upon the note F and G are the primary chords, and of course the tonic itself, which is the first degree. So we have 1, 4, and 5. And let's say for a C Lydian scale, chords built upon the first, second, and the seventh degree are primary chords, and the rest are secondary and act as material to create variety and contrast. Oh, by the way, don't forget to watch my video about contrast and harmony, which I will put the link here. Going back to the major scale, we can see that the primary chords are on the fourth and the fifth degree, and they are derived from the circle of fifths. These chords are major chords, and naturally, if you want to create a gravitation and tonicization of a major scale, you will use these chords to create and impose the feeling of major to the listener. Harmony created based on the circle of thirds and second also exists, which I will discuss them in the future videos, which they have their own kind of color and texture. Now let's say we have a scale, and we choose one of the pitches. When you add an interval on top or below a note, you will have something called a dyad. And a triad is a set of two intervals stacked on each other with the distance of a third. The harmony of the classical era is based solely on the relationship of thirds, the triads, and hence the term Tertiary Harmony. All of these triads are a combination of major and minor thirds. A triad consists of a root note, a third, and a fifth from the tonic. So by having a scale and stacking the thirds on top of each interval, we can have a basic harmonic structure to use. Now you might say, hey, can I choose different major and minor intervals to create the chord on the top of my root notes? The answer is yes, but not for this type of harmonization, because for now we want to imitate and learn classical harmony. The triadic harmonies are diatonic, which it means they are chosen from the scale that we already have and not from outside of it. You probably know that in order to create different chords, we have some formulas. I'm going to put the ones that are mostly used in classical harmony here, so if you like to note them down, you can pause the video and check them out. And don't forget that sometimes these chords can come with more than two intervals of third stacked on each other, like a dominant seventh chord. Now, all these information and laws, fourths and fifths, where do they come from? Aliens? Well, not really. In order to understand harmony, first we should know where it comes from. Let's move back in time a little bit to understand where these degrees and notes and numbers, and finally, most important of all, where harmony comes from. As of everything we know about the development of music till now, is that there weren't always these rules, these sound structures, melody, harmony, etc. all of them evolved through time like an ongoing chain of evolution. And by that I mean like 10,000 years ago. And gradually the ear of the humans and mostly composers opened up to more harmonic structures and natural overtones in the harmonic series. We will talk about the harmonic series and the overtones in the next video, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get the good stuff. Talking about Western music, we should definitely not forget about the music of the church, because that is the source of all development in Western music. So long time ago, around 3rd century AD, there was a type of music called Plainsong. Plainsong was developed during the earliest centuries of Christianity, and they would sing a melody with the Latin words of Psalm or the Eucharist or Mass, which in general you can call it the Gregorian chant. Basically, it was just a melody that everyone was singing in unison with no harmony, so only one line. Later, around the 8th century, someone was like, hey, let's add some young singers to sing with the others. But still, they were singing the same melody. And as you notice, it is sounding more clear, stable, and bright. This interval was called the octave, and the reason for that was there was only 8 notes to choose to sing from. So by going from C to C, you get the 8th note, and hence the name octave, which means 8. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and again C. A little later, the human ear accumulated and understood another interval, the 5th. Using the 5th interval led to the creation of a new music called organum, because it actually sounded like an organ. And you're right, there we have it, the birth of harmony. Oh, but wait, it gets way more interesting. Because why? We're going to make a spirit phone call to Guido di Arezzo.
Hello, and thank you for having me in your channel. Well, I was a Benedictine monk from the Italian city of Arezzo. My early career was spent at the monastery of Pomposa on the Adriatic coast near Ferrara. While I was there, I noted the difficulty that the singers had for remembering the Gregorian chants. It was very difficult for them to remember all these melodies, thousands of melodies. And I developed new techniques for teaching, such as staff notation. Yes, it was me who invented the staff notation. And the use of the ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la mnemonic. Well, maybe interesting for you is that the ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la syllables are taken from the initial syllables of each of the first 6 half lines of the first stanza of the hymn ut quam laxis. Ut quam laxis resonare fibris mira gestos. As you can see, I was pretty smart, and well, I'm pretty sure that you didn't guess about this, right? Yes, I'm correct. But anyway, thank you for having me in your YouTube channel, and I hope to see you soon. And this was a great phone call. And later.
Thank you very much, Guido, and we hope to hear your voice again in our YouTube videos, and see you later. Now that the musical staff was created, composers realized the massive potential of the placement of notes and intervals, and therefore harmony. Periton was a French composer from around the late 12th century, associated with the Notre Dame School of Polyphony in Paris and the Ars Antica music style. Periton added more notes at the same time, so the music had 3 or 4 lines of harmony going at the same time. But till that moment in time, there was limitation to the intervals that were used, so they were mostly perfect fifth or perfect fourth. Around the 14th century, the English composer named John Dunstable introduced the imperfect third. Whoa, imperfect, okay. Why it was imperfect? Well, because compared to the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth, which the people thought of them as godly and perfect, it had 2 versions, major and minor. And this added interval created more color and effect to the music. And the last harmonic interval was the 7th. The major 7th interval is considered one of the most dissonant intervals after its inversion, the minor 2nd. And because of that, it is rarely used in the melodies of the classical music. So this was the historical part of the introduction to harmony. And in the next video, in which I will post when we get to 200 subscribers, I'll tell you guys about the scientific part. I'll tell you about the nature of sound and use some spectral analysis to explain the overtones. Then we can hopefully understand harmony better. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please do leave them in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you'll be notified when the new stuff comes up. See you in the next video. Homayoon out.